Thinking about long-term financial goals, it can feel a little overwhelming, right? But what if we flip that? What if planning wasn't a chore, but was actually the key to designing the future you really want? Okay, let's dive in and see how we can turn those distant dreams into a solid, concrete plan.
So let's just ask it. This is the big, looming question, isn't it? We all have these amazing goals, but trying to figure out the actual number you need to hit them, well, it can feel like you're just guessing in the dark. So let's switch on the lights. And we're talking about the really big milestones here. Things like having a truly comfortable retirement, making sure your kid's university is paid for, buying your own property, or maybe even building an investment portfolio that generates income for you. These are not small expenses, and they definitely need a serious long-term game plan.
So how on earth do you even start to tackle these huge goals without getting completely lost along the way? Well, that is exactly where financial planning comes in. And it's so much more than just saving. It's about creating your personal roadmap to the future.
To put it simply, financial planning is the bridge between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. It's a structured process, a way to make sure that the small financial decisions you make every day are perfectly aligned with your biggest life goals.
Now, to build that bridge, we have to understand one absolutely crucial concept. It's the foundation of all long-term planning, and it's called the time value of money. Honestly, this idea changes everything.
It seems like a trick question, but it's not. It's obvious, right? Of course you'd take the money today. But the real question is why? The answer to that is the absolute bedrock of smart financial planning.
And this breaks it down perfectly. It really comes down to two big things. First, there's inflation. That AED 1000 is simply going to buy you less stuff a year from now. Its purchasing power goes down. And second, the money you have today can be put to work. It can be invested to start earning returns, and that's an opportunity that's just gone if you have to wait a year to get it.
Okay, so if money in the future is worth less, how can we possibly plan for future costs accurately? Well, we use a really powerful tool called Discounted Cash Flow, or DCF. You can think of it as the planner's secret weapon for translating those big future goals into clear, simple numbers for today.
Now, hold on, don't let your eyes glaze over. I know formulas can look a little intimidating, but stick with me. This is way simpler than it looks, and it's our key to being able to see into the future with clarity. Let's just break it down piece by piece. First up, we have future value, or FV. This is the easy one. It's simply your goal. It's that target amount of money you're aiming for down the road.
Next up is R, the discount rate. Don't worry about the name, just think of this as the growth rate for your money. It's the average annual return you expect to get from your investments, whether that's 3%, 5%, or 8% a year.
And finally, we have N, the number of periods. This is just your time horizon, the number of years you have until you need to hit that goal. And this, right here, is your secret weapon. Because thanks to the magic of compounding, the more time you have, the less money you actually need to start with. Time is your single most powerful asset.
Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. It's time to move from the abstract formula to a practical example and see how this all comes together to build an actual financial plan.
So let's imagine a family. They need to save for university. Their big goal, their future value, is AED 200,000. They have 15 years until they'll need the money, and they figure their investments can grow at an average of 5% per year.
So, what do? We just take those numbers and plug them right into our formula. We're essentially asking the formula a question. What amount of money, if it grows at 5% a year for 15 years, will turn into AED $200,000?
And there's our answer, about AED 96,100. Now, let this sink in, because this is the crucial part. The family doesn't need to have AED $200,000 today. They need to invest just under half of that amount, and then let 15 years of time and investment returns do all the heavy lifting for them. Suddenly, that huge goal feels a lot more achievable, doesn't it?
You see what we just did there? We took a huge, distant, and kind of scary number, and we turned it into a clear, immediate target for today. So now, let's zoom back out and see how this one lesson can be applied to your entire financial life.
Because this isn't just for a university fund. You can use the exact same logic to figure out how much you need to invest for retirement or for a down payment on a house. You can even use it to check in and see if your current saving strategy is actually on track to meet your goals. It really is a universal tool.
So, it all just boils down to these three key steps. First, you have to define your objectives. Know exactly what you're aiming for.
Second, you estimate your requirements. Use a tool like DCF to figure out what you truly need today. And third, you implement your strategies. Build the savings and investment plan that's going to get you there.
You know, we started this with a big, scary question, and we've turned it into a simple calculation. You now have the fundamental tool to look into your financial future with clarity instead of anxiety. So the only question left is, what future will you start planning for?